Gary, let's take a moment and say thank you to our sponsors at Fuji Sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've been working with us for a very long time, not only on this podcast, but also at the Academy. And I'm taking a peek at their website right now, and they have a brand new ultra light gi. Now, this is mind-blowing. I'm looking at my size. A2 is 2.75 pounds. I mean, that's under 3 pounds. That's mind-blowing.
I could even lift that. And go to their website, fujisports.com. Check it out. Anything you could need for your jiu-jitsu journey, you can find at fujisports.com.
Hey, it's been a while since we started RŌL TV project.
It's been a while since you started it. I did come in later, and I can't say enough about it, especially the new platform. It's really amazing, fully customizable, and you know a little bit more about the structure.
Well, so two things you need to know. One is the subscription service, which is $9 a month. You can get access to hundreds of videos, hundreds of drills, techniques, and so on in a very nice library categorized as you need them. But two different lessons. You can actually purchase those individually and you own them. So the subscription is not tied to it at all. You can look at things like spider guard, half guard sweeps, half guard chokes, folding pass, and so on. There's so many of them out there. So take a look and see where you need help with the videos, right? 30% if you type in RŌL Radio as a code.
Who doesn't like saving money? Go to rolacademy.tv. What's up, everyone, and welcome back. If you haven't already, please remember to hit the like, share, subscribe, download, listen, and whatever other button there is, and leave us a review wherever you do listen. That ensures that we can continue bringing you the great guests and amazing content you have come to expect. Today's guest, Rene Lopez, joins us from his new Academy's amazing pop culture-themed bathroom. Rene sold his house to open this new academy and to make his dreams come true. On this episode, he discusses the decision-making process that brought him to that point, how he became obsessed with a sport he originally thought wasn't very cool, why he believes the bigger jiu-jitsu athletes are more entertaining than the lighter guys, and when he realized natural talent wasn't enough to compete against the best in the world. Here's the RŌL Radio with the owner and instructor at Jiu-Jitsu Methods in Las Vegas, Nevada, and a top light featherweight competitor, Rene Lopez.
Welcome to RŌL Radio.
And we're live. Gary.
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm good. I knew you were going to ask me that. I'm good.
Jesus, I'm getting... Did you press the button at least?
It's recording.
All
it's
right,
going.
well, I'm just checking because,
I've never done that. Yeah, historically.
Yeah.
You're the one.
Listen, we're not going to bring up dirt from 2 years ago, okay?
That's all I got. So I can't handle it on the mat. I got to bring it up in here. So, but
you doing good?
Yeah, everything's all right. We had the holiday weekend. It wasn't one of the best ones for me and the family, but it wasn't I heard bad in any way.
Yeah.
Just minor car damage and a slip and fall.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't.
Things
That are going on in the world right now. A little bit of front end damage is nothing to.
It seems like we really have nothing to complain about in comparison to other events that's taking place. So
right.
It is what it is.
It is.
But yeah, we are back here. We are back in the studio. We get to chat, have another amazing chat. And this one, we get a lot of firsts. And this one definitely is.
It is a first.
Is a first.
We've done them overseas. We've done them inside. We've done them outside. But we've never done them. Go ahead. Where?
Well, we've never done them from the bathroom.
From the bathroom.
Rene, good to have you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is thanks a lot for letting me do it on the bathroom. This is actually kind of like, it's kind of like my office, because my wife says that all the time. So
yeah, I get that too. I spend a lot of time in there. It's the only time I'm left alone. Do you have kids yet?
Sorry?
Do you have children yet?
No children, no.
Yeah, so once you do have kids, the only privacy you ever get as a father is in the bathroom. Unfortunately, the mothers don't even get that. The kids are banging on the door the whole time. But as a dad, the bathroom does become your office.
But listen, on a serious note, if you're not watching this on YouTube, you need to. Okay, because your bathroom, your restroom is quite unique. Okay, spin the camera a little bit. Let's show what's going on and explain to us what in the world is going on over there.
Okay, so my bathroom is pretty much like I said in my office. So, like my gym, I just opened my gym 5 months ago, and I'm a big fan of like anime and comics and cartoons and sports. So I wanted to do my gym kind of like a man cave. So it's pretty much a man cave. So it's like my bathroom's like all stuff that I like. So
we got some posters. We got some posters of anime. I see that. Is it
Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles? X-Men?
Yeah.
Zoom in on that. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
And what I like about the X-Men is it's all the Jim Lee X-Men, which came out when I was around in my late teens. Jim Lee was huge. So that's awesome. Bret the Hitman Hart, Michael Jordan
up there. Okay, look at that. Look at that. I like it.
I don't know if you guys know Ninja Scroll. I'm a big Ninja Scroll fan.
That's the one thing out of all that's there. I'm not into anime. Sandlot. I just watched the clip the other day of the Sandlot where what is it?
Pulp Fiction. Look at that. That's old. That's a classic right there.
And some more X-Men here. Some Led Zeppelin. Marvin Gaye, of course.
Beautiful.
And I grew up with some old school gangster movies, kind of like
American Me.
And I like Rocky Marciano. So
nice.
Yeah, so that's Rocky Marciano right there. And I have some game all over the gym. I have like little games like this, like little bowling ball or a little arcade.
How do you get anybody on the mat? They would go in that bathroom and they'd never come out.
Yeah, that was, actually I was going to put an arcade right here, like a bigger one, but I'm like, there's no way people are going to get out the bathroom.
No. And if you've got a kids program, they're all going to be banging on the door.
Yeah. I have like all these puzzles, like the Rubik's Cubes all over the gym, like the basic one. And I have all these complicated ones. And everybody loves them. Everybody's just like, just doing all kind of stuff like that. So
that's awesome. Yeah. It's not a boring place at all.
So I see a lot of X-Men. Is that one of your big interests?
Oh yeah, X-Men. When I grew up, so my two biggest interests were Batman and X-Men. Yes.
Why? Why those two?
I don't know. I grew up watching the 90s cartoons, the animated series. So I don't know. I just fell in love with Batman and stuff. I love that he's strategic, kind of like similar to Jiu-Jitsu and stuff. And X-Men, I don't know. I just fell in love with the whole powers and the group. And it was like everybody has their own story, but they're like a family, dysfunctional family. But
who's your favorite mutant?
Wolverine.
Of course, right? Yeah.
He's just so badass, he's just badass. Even though he gets in the 90s cartoon, he got beat up all the time. He was always getting beat up.
Is that the one where he had the Australian accent?
Oh,
He's from Canada, if you don't know, but for some reason in the animated series, he had an Australian accent.
He did.
Doesn't make any sense, but.
And he was from Canada, so it was like weird.
And what you were saying about Batman is true. Give it enough time, he can beat anybody, right?
Yeah,
enough time to prepare. So,
prep master.
My favorite. Period.
Is Batman?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but isn't the Batman the only superhero without any superpowers?
Well, there's more, but he definitely, he has no superpowers, and like I said, given enough time, he can beat anybody. So, awesome.
That's right.
Well. Listen, first, thank you for the the nickel tour of your bathroom because that's the important stuff. But 5 months ago, you opened your new academy. How is that going? It can be. I would imagine it can be easy. We coming out of this craziness of being upside down for a couple of years and jiu-jitsu heavily impacted all around. Whether you believe it or not, we say this often on the show. Everybody got hit with this in some capacity. You opening a brand new gym?
Yes, I did. So I was going to open it during the pandemic, before the pandemic happened. But obviously when that happened, nobody knew what was going to happen. You don't know you don't even know if you're going to live, right? Everybody was so scared of this virus that you don't know what's going on. But eventually throughout the house market got the inflation got so big, which I sold my home to open my school. and I did it because, the inflation of the house market was so huge. It was like money I was never going to see in my life. You know what I mean? So I took the chance, and so far so good. It's been 5 months now, and the gym takes care of itself. And I couldn't be happier in my life right now. So,
all right. So take us back. I didn't know this, but this is gonna be interesting now. So you sell your house,
yes,
to open an academy. Are you?
Yes.
And you married?
I'm married. Yes.
I need some tips here. How in the world do you convince your wife to sell your house to open an academy?
It was actually more. I brought my friend. He flips houses, and for the last 10 years, he's been very successful. So he came up to me. He's like, Rene, how you doing? We're always talking. We were good friends, and he's like, I think you should sell your home because you're never going to see that type of money ever again, and I'll help you invest it. And I'm like, okay, let me talk to my wife, obviously, right? So I'm talking to her, and we sat down for about 2 weeks, just going back and forth on pros and cons. And eventually she's like, yeah, this is the right thing to do, because it gave us enough tools to do pretty much not only the academy, but if you want to buy another home, if you want to invest money. And so, you know what I mean? So you're just kind of playing the market, I guess. You're just playing, the whole game of investing, right? Investing and stuff like that, which I never done, obviously, because I'm a jiu-jitsu guy and I just think about jiu-jitsu all the time. But, with time, obviously you learn different things, and you meet different people through jiu-jitsu too. And everybody has different careers. So I was very fortunate of have some advice from different people, that are doing great. So
what were some of the pros and cons of a big decision like this between you and your wife? Like, I'm trying to figure out this dynamic because one, like we talked to Nick and Danny, and they open up, an academy during pandemic. And one of the first things I asked them is like, are you out of your freaking mind? What is wrong with you? Right? Like, no, like that's a very bold move.
Yes.
And I feel like you go even beyond that from a risk perspective, right? You sell the property to open your academy, and you don't even know if the academy is going to work out because we're coming out of this pandemic thing, right? So, kind of paint the bigger picture here. How are these conversations unfolding? What's going through your mind? What are the justifications, pros and cons between a big decision like this?
Sure. So the first thing was that we bought our home during the recession. So the market was very low. So our house it was very cheap in Vegas, at the time. And obviously throughout the years, it built equity and stuff. And we got to a point that after the pandemic, everything's still getting more expensive, right? And it's like, this is ridiculous. I can't believe how much my home costs now. And so that was a big plus, that the amount of money we were going to make was more than we'll ever see in our lifetime, So that was the biggest pro. Some cons were like, obviously, if the gym doesn't do well and we have to close down, we're going to lose our home, a home that's very cheap, especially at when we purchased it, because now everything's so expensive, right? Like you're talking about homes in Vegas that are around $300,000 to $500,000 now, which is ridiculous. When I bought my home cost $100,000, $110,000, So a lot of those numbers, it was just all numbers, honestly. It's just numbers. Like she was working at the time. I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, so we're making the numbers, and it was just way more pros and cons, like I said, we go buy another home, we go open a school, we can invest money, you know what I mean? So it's just giving you so many avenues. And luckily, and the decisions were made throughout the past, we're in this situation, and so that was the end result. The end result was, we were just going to make so much more money. Even if the gym doesn't do well, we'll still be okay. So
do you think that opening a gym at that point of time about 5 months ago, right? We're kind of coming out of this pandemic thing. Is that the perfect time to do that?
I mean, it was so I wanted to open a school at the end of when the whole lockdown happened, but obviously that happened. So we waited out. We waited out like a year, see how other schools are doing, how other friends are doing. And luckily, seriously, like after everything opened in Vegas, I mean, everybody just wants to go out. They almost didn't care, So I could see all my friends that have schools, they're just, they're just growing. Obviously they lost a lot of students, but the growth in sports and recreational stuff, and at least in Vegas, has been like increasingly just growing because parents don't want their kids to be at home, Yeah. They're just in a tablet. They're just, getting out of shape, whatever the case is. So I can see all the schools throughout the Vegas Valley. They're all doing great, actually. Everybody's doing really good. They're growing. Every school in Vegas is growing. And not only that, but more schools are just popping out of nowhere. So, seeing that, seeing my friends, seeing everything around us, we could just see that everything is just growing. It's doing really well. So that made the decision, okay, let's do it. I think it's a good time. Not only that, but I had an idea of opening the school when I was at mid-30s, and I'm mid-30s now, and I had all the tools to do it, and I've done all the things I wanted to do in the past. Not completely all my goals, but I'll say like a high percentage of them, I was able to accomplish them. So it was just the right decision, it was the right time.
Do you feel like you're on the right path as far as the life is concerned? You're talking about some of the goals being accomplished. You're on your way to accomplish even more of them. It seems like you are a goal-oriented individual. Is that the case?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I started jiu-jitsu pretty late. I was actually in my early 20s. I think I was about 23. And I started jiu-jitsu at 23. I started with a friend. Actually, so my whole story was I started as a break dancer in my teens, for like 7 years. And then after high school, I mean, I'm like anybody else, like a typical person, like I don't know what I wanted to do with my life. I went to college for a couple of years for criminal justice, but I realized, that wasn't for me. My mom she broke her leg and she couldn't work. So I got another job. I helped her out. And then while doing that, getting another job, I met another person that I trained that trains, and he invited me to his home to train. His name was Bryce Moore. His name is Bryce Moore. And so just with that, when I started training with him, it's just, I've been in this like obsession with jiu-jitsu ever since. And I've never stopped. So it gave me like purpose, because I feel like as a human being, you're always looking for that purpose. What's your purpose? What do you want to do? And that gave me purpose. Finding jiu-jitsu gave me purpose of what I want to do with my life. So yeah, my story was pretty crazy. I started pretty late. Like I said, a friend of mine invited me to go to his house and train, and that's how it all started. So
we'll talk about the beginning in the moment, but I want to take it even earlier for a second. So you're a performer, or you do you still dance? Do you still break dance, or is that kind of fade away at this point?
Okay, so I started in middle school with my cousin. My cousin is from Alaska, and he came down during the summers, and he was a big break dancer, and that's how I got into it. So I don't know. It was just one of those things that I just loved.
Is this like a hobby, or you performing this, or like how? Like,
you know what?
Give me more
at the time, this is like early 2000s. Okay, so at the time, breakdancing wasn't huge as it is now. So at the time, it was just it's just like a hobby. Killing time and not getting into gangs or whatever the case was. And so I just started b-boying for pretty much all my high school years. And we were performing like we were like street performers,
Okay.
We go to the strip, we put a hat, we do some, we put on a show, or we go to the swamp meet or the flea market and put on shows there. So, but seriously, we were training like athletes though. We were training like 7 hours a day, all day at my buddy's house. and at my house, and we're killing our parents' living rooms. You know, like it was like dirt. Those carpets were destroyed. You know, there was holes in the walls. My mom was furious. But yeah, so it was b-boying life for like a good 7 years.
What's the goal here? Is the goal here to become a national stage performer, or like what are you doing here?
No, I was just doing it just because it was just fun. You know, I was just a kid. And I didn't know what I wanted to do after. I was just a kid. I was just in the moment. So there was no long time goals besides, maybe win some jams. Where there were tournaments, we call jams. And so win some jams and just get better. And I mean, maybe once or twice I thought about like Cirque du Soleil shows and stuff like that in the Vegas Strip. But seriously, I never thought that far. I was just in the moment. I never planned ahead. I didn't start actually making goals of myself until I started doing jiu-jitsu. So yeah.
Okay, so let's bridge into that. So your friend invites you to his house.
Yeah.
With a purpose, come over, we'll train. Do you know what jiu-jitsu is at that point when you were invited, or this is going completely blind?
Okay, so besides he was my first teacher, okay? But besides him, before him, a good friend of mine, he started doing jiu-jitsu. We lived together in an apartment in the hood. And he was doing jiu-jitsu, but I was doing stand-up because we were doing boxing during high school. So I'm like, I don't want to do jiu-jitsu. It's kind of whack or whatever. And but then I started seeing him train in the living room with other people, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna jump in. And then ever since that day, then I started liking jiu-jitsu more and more. And then once I met my other friend that became my first teacher, that he was my coworker, that's how everything, he planted the seed even more. He watered the seed, and it was just.
And from there was no return.
There was no return. Yeah, there was no return.
Yeah, so you said you were obsessed with it from the start. What made it an obsession? What grabbed you?
Okay, so I'll put it like this. Like my wife, girlfriend at the time, I'm like obsessed. So I'm buying DVDs. Okay, there's barely any YouTube videos. So I'm buying DVDs. This is like 2008, about 2008. There's barely any YouTube stuff, right? So I'm buying DVDs. I'm buying all DVDs I can find, Pan Am's, Worlds, and I have a portable DVD at the time, and we're going to work, and I'm like watching footage. Anytime I had free time, I had that DVD with me, that DVD portable, and I'm just watching the videos and studying all these people nonstop, to the point where my wife was like, "Hey, you need to get off the DVD because this is ridiculous. Like, you need to spend time with me." Because it was nuts. It was like I'm literally just studying matches and tournaments nonstop with that portable DVD. It was like she was going nuts. She was like, "I'm gonna throw that shit away," and it was just killing all my free time. And it was, you know what I mean? It was just like it was not good. It was not good. It was rough. It was a rough time for a relationship at the time.
But what was it? What was it that grabbed you? What was it that made it an obsession? Was it people call it a human chess, or puzzles, or, was it figuring things out? What was it about it that made you obsessed?
Definitely problem solving, strategy, traps. It just fascinated me.
Yeah.
It fascinated me that a little person could roll with somebody bigger. Because like I said, I was doing boxing, and my friends were pretty big, and it was really hard boxing with somebody who's bigger and they know how to box. It was like, Jesus, it sucks. With jiu-jitsu, watching somebody smaller do really good with somebody bigger, well, it was amazing to me. It was like, oh, this is incredible. Why wouldn't you want to do this? Okay, it works, and you can go get somebody bigger. And it's a strategy, which I always love, like strategy games and traps and stuff like that. And yeah, so that fascinated me more than anything. But I'll tell you this right now, like the type of style that I play is because I saw a smaller person at the black belt absolute at 2008 Worlds. I saw Cobrinha go against Lovato. I don't know if you guys ever seen this.
I've seen that.
But my teacher at the time was like, oh, check this guy out. His name is Cobrinha. And he was as tall as I am. And he was going at it with this huge guy. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, like I just wanted more. It was like nonstop. So.
Well, so let me ask you this. Do you think the size really matters? I mean, as far as jiu-jitsu is concerned, I mean, do you think the strength really matters? I mean, we often talk about, jiu-jitsu. We'll talk about these. Jiu-jitsu was developed for a smaller, weaker person, to outmaneuver the bigger and stronger opponent and so on, to create all these escapes and defense mechanisms and all the things, right? But I mean, physical components do matter. So do you think that there is some truth behind that, or what's your thought on all this?
I believe, for sure that technique overcomes all, but it doesn't mean like, hey, don't work out, don't lift. It does not mean that. Okay. It means that, as an athlete, right? Or as a martial artist, right? Cause I'm big into martial arts. Like, you need to train your body. Like, your body needs to be in shape. It needs to be in condition. Cause if not, the technique won't work. It will not work. Like, you're going to get tired and you're done. It don't matter who it is. The person can be a white belt and beat you up. So for me, technique is everything, but it doesn't mean like, hey, it's just technique. No, you gotta do conditioning. You gotta be, you gotta build your body. You gotta like make sure you're staying in shape. But not only that, but it depends the type of style you play too. You want to gain muscle, like you want to add on to your technique. So whatever my technique is, I want to build my body towards that technique. Does that make any sense? Like, if I'm a spider guard player, you need to have strong grips. If you're a half guard player, then you have to be, you have to play a lot of overhooks, underhooks, and stuff like that, right? So, like, build your body towards this type of style that you play. So, I mean.
So let me ask you this: Do you build the style around the body you have, or do you build the body around the style that you have?
Oh, great question. That's a really good question. I mean, this is a self journey for each person that does the art. Okay. This is going to be your journey. So I wouldn't know, because somebody could be big, right? It's really big, but it could be flexible. I don't know this. I mean, you would know this with learning, with training, right? With training and knowing yourself, knowing how you move, and that only takes with experience and trying things, So I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, because I know big people like they're, not like pudgy and stuff, but they're flexible and they're fast and they could move like little people, So it's like I can't tell you that the stereotype of like, oh, this and this. No, I have to, like, as a teacher, as a coach, you have to see your student. You have to see him train, and then you can start learning. You start learning, and then you kind of help. You're gonna help that student develop techniques of whatever their body moves. So
how do you develop these conversations with your students, right? So like, someone that comes to you and they're fairly new to jiu-jitsu, they're early on in their jiu-jitsu journey, they're just exploring. There is no experience just yet, right? And the question will be dropped, well, what should I do to get better? Right. So which direction would you lean? Would you say, hey, listen, we need to, we need to get you a little bit more mobile here to increase your flexibility, increase your agility, and so on? Or it would be, listen, let's utilize the physical components that you have to start targeting the specific techniques or concepts to benefit you from what you already have. Which direction would you lean?
What I like to do is the way I structure my classes, it helps me a lot to see where they're kind of more natural. So as a person that just started jiu-jitsu, so let me break it down to you like this. Okay, so beginning of the week, we do just top, which is just takedowns, passing, play, just being on top, right? All top stuff. And then I could see how a newcomer, a beginner is moving towards those techniques. Okay. And then I can see if they're natural or they need work. And if they need work, then I'll help them out, obviously. But then during the other half of the week, then we do all guard. So then I see how that person, how they react towards those techniques. If they react naturally, you know what I mean? Then I'll be able to like kind of like balance to see which one that student kind of gravitates to, you know? And then I could come and be like, okay, so this person is more of a top player. This person is more of a bottom player. So that's how I kind of like balance out. I kind of decide of what that person favors more. Because of the way I structure my classes, top or bottom, and then I see how they react to techniques and stuff.
Do you think the one is more dominant than the other one, meaning top versus bottom?
No, I feel like it's pretty balanced. Like even with kids, I can see some kids like playing top and some kids like playing bottom. So I'll put it like this too. Like we were as a team, we did a tournament, the first tournament, and I had the kids come in, like the ones competing. I had them come in for the first week, and I told them and I could see them, you know, throughout the months, I could see them training and stuff, and I could see which ones like playing top, which ones that like playing bottom. So when I brought them in, I asked them, okay, what are you going to do at the tournament? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, so you're going to play top, and this person's going to play, you know, I give everybody like an objective. You're going to play top. That's all you're going to do. I don't care about nothing. You get swept, you're going to scramble back on your feet. You're going to play top. The whole thing is playing top. This person's going to play bottom. You're going to play bottom, you know, because like I said, as a coach, you gotta know your student. It's like a kid, right? Like a baby, like you're pretty much growing these people, and you got to know them in and outs. You got to know their weaknesses. You got to know their strengths. And so that helps me a lot, you know? So like I said, the techniques during the week of playing top or bottom helps me realize what a person's more gravitates to. So yeah.
Do you think let me flip this different way. And do you think in a tournament scenario for adults, let's just say adults, black belt, open class, do you think one is more dominant than the other? Or has jiu-jitsu developed to the point where, you know, it's very versatile and it's really, you know, it's almost equal?
I mean, maybe like size wise?
I'm talking about top or bottom. So do you think that somebody who has a top skill, do you think that they would be more dominant, or do you think that guard players are more dominant today?
I mean, if you see it all the absolutes, I feel like they're more top. Like honestly, all absolute. Besides maybe Marigali, Keenan, you know, I think everything's more top. So
do you think that's the same case for the lighter guys?
No. I mean, that's a tricky question because a lot of lighter guys don't. I mean, if you're talking about what feather and under, like feather, light feather, rooster, obviously you know, we're mostly guard. But if you're talking lightweight, middleweight, medium heavy, I think they're more top. It's more top, and they're the ones they do absolute than you know, anybody that's feather and under. So and the reason why is because even if you beat a guy, right? Even if a featherweight or a light feather or a rooster beats a bigger guy, then you still got to fight 3 more matches, you know? And as a smaller guy, having a bigger guy that's really good too on top of you for 10 minutes, I mean, you're getting burned out, you know? Yeah. So so that's why you see a lot of the little guys won't do it, just because it's not that we're scared or nothing like that. It's just the conditioning to go at it for 3 to 4 matches with somebody like Buchecha or any of those big guys, it's really hard. So maybe in one match we could do really well, maybe even win, right? Maybe even win. But then you got to worry about 3 more matches. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about somebody who's at 150 pounds or lighter going with somebody that's 200 pounds, you know, and over, plus you don't know if they're on the sauce, if they're on the special. You know what I'm saying?
There's that.
Like, all the truth. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, Meows did it at the lower belts, but at black belt, they kind of stopped because, I mean, yeah, maybe because of that reason, it's not only one match, but you're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4 matches.
So what you're saying essentially is not the skill that discourages the lightweights to compete at the open divisions, but is the gravity and just the weight, carrying that weight to, in a from a long-term perspective, right? Yeah, no, I can see how that, Yeah,
you're talking about, think about Buchecha or think about somebody like that. Oh man, it's hard, dude. Like afterwards, I'm seriously, even if you train with somebody that big, that's that good, and let's say you even do well, if you're not on the sauce, especially if you're not on the sauce, you feel like you got hit by a truck and you're recovering for the next week.
Come on, Rene. Come on, suck it up a little bit. You don't want to go with Buchecha or you don't want to go Hajar? Come on.
Are you crazy? Oh my God.
But it's always, it's always interesting to look at these different perspectives, because I think I think that's what develops the styles too, right? Like the lighter guys are by far more dynamic, always have been. I think they are even more entertaining from that perspective because things are moving along. There's a lot of, you really have to pay attention. Things happen very quickly, a lot of inversions and so on, a lot of dynamic passing versus the bigger, heavy guys. It's more of a strategic pressure passing, kind of
scrambles.
Right, exactly, right. So it's Do you think the lighter guys are more entertaining from an entertainment perspective, like for the outsider, or do you think the bigger guys?
No, bigger guys.
The bigger guys?
Yeah, because look, the little guys we're super technical. First of all, we're more technical than all the big guys for sure.
Well, you just pissed off Buchecha. I'm just telling you.
Sure.
He listens.
But not only that, but we're really strong. All the lighter guys are super strong. But the problem with that is that we're so light that we could cancel out each other really well too, which becomes really boring.
Yeah.
So, that's the reason why sometimes, that's the reason I'll say the bigger guys are more entertaining, because they're not they're technical too, but they're just going with the flow kind of, and just doing scrambles, which is more entertaining, than the lighter guy sometimes. If the lighter guy gets free of being in entanglements and stuff like that, then it becomes super entertaining, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times it doesn't, and that's the reason why a lot of times the lighter guys don't have a lot of exposure in the jiu-jitsu world because of that reason. Sometimes we're really strong and we could cancel each other out, and sometimes sometimes we're so good and fast that if you do one mistake and then you open, it's over. It's completely done. A little guy will be on your back, or they're going to pass your guard. So a lot of times it becomes a little boring. I'm not gonna lie. So
no, I think you're right about all this. That's probably one of the main reasons why there is a super heavyweight or open division. There is no super ultra light. They never go down. They always go up, right? The entertainment factor of the gladiator effect, if you will. The big strong guys, they are fighting. There's the physical component of all of this. Who is the best of the best of the best? Which doesn't necessarily make it fair to the lighter guys, but that, I guess, part of the game. I don't know. Yeah. No, it is what it is. Gary?
Well, I always think that in any sport, especially combat sports, it's always the heavier divisions that draw the attraction. And I think sometimes with the, if we go back to the lighter guys, sometimes I think there's so much going on for the casual viewer that they can't even make sense of it. It's just like all these dudes are flopping around, and then when they see some heavier guys, they can see the calculations made, and they can see the setups, and they can see it come to fruition, where I don't think that happens quite as much in the light divisions.
I agree.
Sounds like you're trying to promote a super fight for yourself or something.
There's nothing super about that.
So listen, what's the future? Academy opened about 5 months ago or so. You are newer to the business owner component, your instructor, there is a certain weight and pressure, I'm sure on your shoulders and responsibility to carry this on to make it successful. What's your long-term goal from the instructor / business owner perspective? Where are you taking this?
I mean, seriously, I want to do this until the day I die. So with that being said, like I want to bring in some good energy for my students. I want to show them some good jiu-jitsu, but more than anything, I want to bring memories and I want to grow to the point where I don't want to get like huge, I don't want to be like a huge school, like Alliance. I mean, if it gets, that's not my goal. My goal is just to like do this until the day I die and pretty much bring good memories to the people that are around me and stuff and show good jiu-jitsu while they're training here too. So yeah, that's like my long-term goal. It's pretty simple. Like, honestly, it's that simple and stuff. There's nothing to it. I mean, besides that, obviously I want to grow the school into a good number where I could establish, I could take care of my wife, and maybe if I have kids one day, they have a future and I can send them to college or whatever. And obviously that's all, that's pretty obvious stuff. But besides that, I mean, just bring good memories and people having a good time when they come to my gym. I want them to be happy. I want them to come in. It makes me happy. So I want to make them happy. So
you mentioned memories 3 or 4 times. Why is that so important?
Because jiu-jitsu has brought so many memories to me. Like I've traveled all over the world because of jiu-jitsu. It gave me purpose. It made me be organized. It made me have goals. It made me be a better person, like, honestly. And something like I say is like, I travel all over the world and stuff. And I started when I was a purple belt. I started traveling when I was a purple belt. I went to Brazil and I actually went to go train at the Mendes brothers at the Apple school. And you know what I mean? Like, I would have never done that if it would have not been for jiu-jitsu. So, and throughout the years, it just made me a lot of memories that I will never forget. And they're very, I cherish them and stuff. So.
What's one of the most memorable moments that you can recall right from the top of your head?
I mean, for sure, when I went to Brazil, my first time ever traveling outside the country by myself, I was, 24. I went there without knowing the language and hearing all these crazy stories about people getting robbed and and stuff like that at gunpoint and all this stuff. So, so I went down. I actually did a seminar with them after Hoffa won his first Worlds, 2010 or 11. I can't remember. And I went to California. I did the first seminar there, and I told them, hey, I really want to come down and train. And they were probably like not taking me seriously. Like, yeah, come down. Just send us a message. And so I came back home. And I told my wife, hey, like the guy said I could go to Brazil and go train with them. And she's like, my wife's a trooper. She was like, oh, you know what? If this is what you want to do, you got to do it. And I'm like, I'm freaking out because I'm like, how am I going to do this? And she's like pushing me to do it, right? She's like, if this is really what you want to do, then you got to do this. And so I worked, I kept, I had a job at the time. So I just saved my money. And then I bought my ticket and I wrote them and they're like, okay, yeah, come through. So they sent me the address, but I found out they live like 3-4 hours from Sao Paulo. So, so it was me pretty much trying to figure out how to get there and stuff. Because at the time, phones, like phones they don't work like they do now. So, so it was like, I was like, printing all these papers with all these addresses and stuff on Google Maps. That's how you do it back then.
Yeah.
But this is crazy because this is a different country, so you're like, oh my God, I'm like freaking out. But I'm like, I'm doing it, I'm doing it. My wife pushed me, she supports me. So I'm like, I'm doing it. And it was funny because like 2 weeks before you need a visa to go to Brazil, and my dumb ass did not get the visa. So we were like scrambling, going to the to LA to try to get the visa. And thankfully I got the visa. So I was like, oh my God, it was just crazy. And so I go over there. I land in Brazil, and I'm like, holy shit! I don't know how I'm gonna get. How I'm gonna get to the place? What in the world was I thinking? I'm pretty much in the airport, and I can't speak Portuguese. You know, I don't know how to talk Portuguese. I know Spanish, but it's not the same thing. So I'm in the airport freaking out, and in my head, right? And I'm walking around, and I'm like,
you're completely by yourself, right? You're not. Your wife's not with you. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're talking about somebody who's lived in the States all their life, and so I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I just asked a guy, he was a taxi driver. He's like, I show him the address. He's like, he shows me how much it's gonna cost, and I'm like, I don't care, dude, take me. You know? So seriously, 3-4 hours. Thank God this dude was like legit, because God knows,
he could have taken you anywhere.
You know, he takes me to their town, which is 3-4 hours from Sao Paulo, the main city, because they live in a little town. And the drive was amazing. It was like beautiful, you know, like the countryside. It was like gorgeous, just gorgeous fields and stuff like that. And it was just green, beautiful green. And I get to Brazil, I get to the airport, and then I'm like, okay, how am I going to get to their academy? I don't know where their academy is at. I got the address, but how am I going to make this work? I don't even know this. You know what I mean? It was just like.
So wait a minute. So the address you had is for their house?
No, the address they gave me was for their gym. And then they sent me an address for a hotel to stay at.
Okay.
So that's where I got dropped off. I got dropped off at the hotel. And then from there, I don't know. I kind of just wander around.
How far is the hotel from the academy?
It's like 15 minutes. It's not that far, but you know what I mean? Like you're in this little town, and it's like, I don't know how to get there, but we're gonna figure it out. Let's do this.
So you get to the academy, and what's your first impression when you walk in?
Oh my God, that was the most. I was so nervous because their academy's upstairs, right? And it's like a little hall going upstairs, and then their gym at the time is very small. It's like really long, very narrow, and it's made out of bricks. And I'm going upstairs like freaking out in my head. And then I walk in, and they're all in a circle stretching. And I was just like, hi, I'm Rene. I'm the guy from the seminar. And they're like, yeah. Come sit down. And I'm sitting down stretching, trying to say hi to everybody. But they can't, they don't know how to speak English and stuff. So yeah, dude, I was like super nervous. First of all, you don't know how people are going to treat you. You don't know if they're going to go berserk on you. You don't know anything. You don't know if the Mendes brothers are going to be cool. Like I had no idea. I had my expectations. I had none. And I was so nervous, dude. It was like the most craziest thing I've done in my life at the time.
So now looking in a retrospect, how was the experience?
It was amazing. Yeah, it was great because they were getting ready for a tournament. It was called the Hickson Cup. And, I'm very flexible and I had a flexible guard and stuff. So they were like, oh, you're like Japanese guy, like flexible and stuff. So they were just like going around. They were going to town on me, like round after round after round. And not only that, but then you're going against other stars too, like Bruno Forzato and all their upcoming prodigies of lower belts, like Ronaldo Candido at the time and the Nilsson and some other beastly prodigies they had in there. So it was a great experience. It was crazy. The training was it opened my eyes because they were training like 3 times a day, about 2 hours a day, every day, Monday through Friday. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll add a lifting session. And then, dude. So it was like, I did that, I don't know, like about a month. And it was insane. Yeah, it was insane. I've never trained so much in my life. Like the first week it sucked, dude, because I'm getting beat up by blue belts and I'm walking back to the hotel by myself. And I'm like, I'm breaking down. I'm breaking down because I wasted all this money. I worked my ass off for I don't know how many months. I wasted all this money and I'm like, I fucking suck. What am I doing here? But I'm like, I'm already here, so might as well do the best, right? Eventually I got to that mentality, you know, I'm here, might as well just do what I can. And so it was insane, dude. I learned so much, not only techniques, the way they train, and other things too, you know, the way they see life. You know, I got to see, it got to a point where Hoffa invited me to, you know, the Mendes invited me to their house. I'm eating with their mom at the table. They're showing me their room, their medals. So, you know, it was really cool to see like a superstar, you know, and seeing how they live and how they train and being really nice to me at, you know, at that time and stuff. So it was a great experience, you know, because I saw those guys as, you know, like superstars. So seeing all that knowledge was amazing, was great. It was a great time. Yes.
Talk a little bit more about those moments when you're going back to your hotel and you feel, you know, down, you feel like you're not good enough. And, you know, it's, you know, it's very heavy feeling. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's many students out there who want to do jiu-jitsu. They genuinely want to learn, but as time goes on, they find out that jiu-jitsu is complex, and it's not, you know, there's a lot of work that has to go into it in order for us to become good and efficient at it. And there's always the thoughts of quitting. There's always the thoughts, I suck. There's always the thoughts of I'm not getting good. I'm not good enough. I'm getting beat up all the time. Share with everybody, you know, the train of thought that you go through, you know, go through your mind during that time, because it seems like that was pretty heavy right there.
Yeah, it was because I mean, my mind was okay. So I've never been really good at anything in other sports when I was younger, but jiu-jitsu, I felt like I had a talent. So when I started doing jiu-jitsu, I could see that I was pretty good, you know, at least at the gym at the time. And then I started doing tournaments, and I was doing well at tournaments. And then I did the Pan Ams as a white belt, and I made it to the finals and lost by 2 points. And then, but I still at the time I was like, oh, you know, it's cool, but whatever. But the next year I was a blue belt, and I made it to the finals again. I had like 6 matches. There was, I don't know how many competitors, so many competitors. The blue belt's probably like the heaviest. And I fought an up-and-coming prodigy too. It was Gianni Grippo. It was 2009. And we, you know, we had a really close match. I lost by advantages, but after that, I was like, oh, wow, I'm really good at something. And I really love doing this too. So that pretty much, once I realized that, it was done. I'm like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get better. But when I was in Brazil, I realized how like high level competitors, high level athletes train. And when I went back to the hotel room, it was crushing, you know, because, you know, you finally find something that you're good at, to finally find out that there's more to it. And it's going to take more than just, you know, than talent. You have to put in hard work, a lot of training. But at the time, I was so devastated because I had finally found something I was good at, to actually find out that, oh yeah, I'm nowhere near to the level I want to be, even at the lower belts, you know.
And a lot of people at that point would say, screw this. I'm going to go to the beach. Yes. I'm going to hang out. Whatever remaining time I have left in Brazil, I'm just going to chill. I'm gonna have the good life, you know. Forget about the hard work. This sucks. I'm done. But you did.
But the good thing was that their little town, Rio Claro, is like in the middle of nowhere. So there's like no beach over there.
There's nothing else to do.
It's a little town too.
So you liked that you did, and you had to do it.
And so I'm like, I'm staying in a room. I don't know what the hell's going on out there. So, but you know, like I said, I was like, dude, I'm here. Eventually, after that week of being broken down and crying by myself and, you know, and killing myself about like, oh, I wasted all this money for no reason. I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm going to make the best out of it. I'm going to train. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do, and which was learn. and experience all this. And that's what I did.
So you're there for a month, right? Is that what you said?
About a month.
A month. Yeah. How are you different after that month?
Dude, it was crazy. After the week, seriously, after that week of being broken down, I changed. Like, I was training better. I was more open. I was like Neo from the Matrix, you know, just like one more, you know what I mean? Like, I was just wanting more. And when I came back to the States, it just stuck to me. I'm like, wow, these people train this way, you know, because in the State at the time, I feel like Americans, like, we were training different. We weren't training like put together almost. Everything was just kind of like free, you know, like very open, like a flow kind of thing, you know. And when I came back, it was just like, no, you got to get organized. You know, you pop out here, you got to eat, you know, you got to eat all these things you got to do. But obviously at the time, I'm like, oh, first thing I got to do is technically get better, because I saw so many things that I was backed up, you know, as a high level, seeing the highest level of jiu-jitsu, to seeing my jiu-jitsu at the time, I'm like, wow, I have so much stuff that I need to fill. You know, a lot of techniques, a lot of things that I should know that I'm not doing. So I have to like learn and I have to train. So when I came back, I completely changed my training, and I just kept going. I kept trying to learn from more like superstars like Cobrini. I went to go train in California over there, and Calterra, and I went to Lloyd Irvin's, I went to Marcelo Garcia's, I went to anywhere that I like the style, you know, that I love the style. So I was pretty much going anywhere I could to like learn how people train and what to do and how to feel my jiu-jitsu. Because I, you know, at the time I feel like I was really behind, you know, and the only thing that was saving me, that it was actually my breakdancing, because I was very flexible. So I was able to kind of like cheat code, which I kind of still do, but I realized, I need to get technically way better, and I got to get organized with my training with different things, you know, that I didn't know at the time. So by going over there, coming back, it was just pretty much like, I need to be more organized, and I need these tools, you know, to become, you know, to reach my full potential. Because I feel like as an athlete, that's what you're trying to do, right? You're trying to reach your full potential. And that's really hard to do as a human being, you know, whatever you're doing, the goal is to reach I feel like a human being, like, you're trying to reach your full potential of whatever, you know, or whatever career or whatever thing you're doing. So
why do you think that's so difficult?
Because you have to know yourself, and knowing yourself, it's probably one of the hardest things to do. I mean, not only physically, but mentally. And like I said, and for you, like let's say as an athlete, right, we're all trying to be champions. And we're all a little crazy, you know, we're all obsessive.
Come on now.
Yeah. But
we all nuts.
But to become on the top of the food chain, like, you have to figure out this puzzle of becoming a champion. But it's like hard to explain, because like, okay, like my good friend, my good training partner, Mikey, right? Mikey became a champion doing things that made him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, what makes him a champion only makes him a champion, you know? What makes Cobrini a champion, what makes all these other guys champions, is something they have to figure out by themselves, you know? Because if that was the case, okay, I'll be a champion too. Mikey will be like, hey, this is what you got to do. That's it, you know? But no, that's not the case. It's a self journey of you learning how to reach that full potential. And figuring things out by yourself. Some things you could do with teams, you know, and they'll help you increasingly really well. But for you to become the top of the top is a self journey that you gotta figure out, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't reach that, you know. But it doesn't mean you learn other things too while going through that process. You learn so many great things. But becoming a champion, like I said, it's not everybody. Everybody's a champion. If it was that easy, then there'll be so many champions, but that's not the case. So that's my.
Yeah. Essentially what you're saying is that journey is a very individual, that jiu-jitsu journey or just life journey in general. Like we specifically thought about jiu-jitsu, but it's about achieving anything in life. Is figuring out this recipe, is figuring out this puzzle that's very individually built towards, each of us.
Yeah, I think there's always a map. There's always a path. But if you're not doing it yourself and discovering things about yourself along the way, then you're never going to achieve. You're never going to get the richness out of it for yourself. Yeah. Right. People can only point you in a direction. They can't take you there.
Well, and I think that's a good point, right? We all have kind of the direction or the goal where we want to get, but the path is different for all of us, and that that's what makes it so complex, so difficult, so hard to achieve, to get to that point of desire that we all aim for. Do you think that's one of the main reasons why people give up? I'm not even talking about jiu-jitsu, but just in general in life. We just hang it up and we are done with this. This is too hard. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, because I understand that too, because like, let's say you don't reach that, right? And you're not making it, you're losing, like a tournament, you keep losing, you're close, after some time. Yeah. So a lot of people, they're like, I'm just done with this. I can't do this. And yeah, because it's crushing, right? You've seen the same result over and over and over again. You just get tired of it and you're like, I'm done. I'm going to do something else. But it doesn't mean they're a loser. It just means maybe that wasn't their path and they had something else for their life, So yeah. So that's the way I think about that,
Do you think that right now you're on a path of your life towards the success, whatever that might be in the future?
Yeah. I still have some goals with competition. I still want to compete at adults, which is really hard, but I feel I'm actually, I'm at my physical peak, I would say, right? Unless I get on the juice. If I were to get on the juice, I could probably push that 5 more years. I'm not about that and stuff, but I feel like physically I'm 36 turning 37. And I feel like this is probably the best my body's going to feel, obviously, right? Because I'm getting close to my 40s and it's going to be really tough at that time. So my whole goal for this season is pretty much to break through, to win a big tournament and stuff. So that's my short-term goals right now. Obviously, my long-term goals is like just keep training and keep, like I told you, giving good memories to my students and just keep training pretty much, keep my body healthy and do that until I die, I guess. That's pretty much it.
Do you see the difference in your body as you're getting up there towards 40s? Do you see the differences between, when you were 25, 30, 32 as you're creeping up closer?
Oh yeah, big time. The recovery is not the same, dude. Recovery. If I get injured, I'm hurting for a while. Weight cutting, that's the huge one right now. Weight cutting. I just did the nationals this past weekend, and seriously, I feel like my hardest match was the weight cut, the scale, because I'm doing light feather, right? I'm doing the light, and my body's not. The last 2-3 pounds, it was really rough, and so recovery for sure. That's like the biggest thing I could feel. Because besides that, I still feel I feel stronger and faster than I've ever felt. But the recovery, it's taxing for sure. And not only that, but yeah, I'm running a business, I'm teaching, and when you're a teacher, and you run a business, you're a janitor, you're a counselor, you're everything.
No, believe me, we know.
And not only that, but the students want to train with you.
Yeah.
Right. And as a new school, I have to train, why I had new students coming in. They want to see what I'm about too, right? They want to almost test me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I mean, that's part of my job. I need to show them that my jiu-jitsu is good and then this is legit. So whether the guy's big or small, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go in there and show them like, hey, this is me. This is my jiu-jitsu, welcome. So.
Yeah, they all want to test you. I feel like you have a big target on your back. At least I do.
Yeah.
You do.
Everyone wants a piece of pie.
Yep.
Listen, we've been at this.
Here,
Yeah, we've been at this for an hour. What a fabulous conversation, Rene. Before we start wrapping this up, one of the things that we do end of every episode is one of the previous guests, or actually the guest right before you, asked a question. And he's quite a big personality in jiu-jitsu. He's been around around the block for quite a while. He asked the question, not knowing that you will be answering the question, so he had no idea it will be you. But Gary's going to take a lead on this. Let's take a look where this is going to go.
Yeah. So last week's guest was Hey Diogo, and he wants to know: is any martial art more effective than jiu-jitsu?
Bam.
And you boxed, so you got that knowledge, right?
Yes. I mean, breakdance fighting. No,
I was about to say touchless jiu-jitsu, but
more effective than jiu-jitsu? I'll say no. I think jiu-jitsu is the best.
What do you think makes jiu-jitsu so effective?
I feel like controlling somebody. Jiu-jitsu is pretty much controlling somebody, right? Controlling somebody in the chaos. And other sports, it's not the same, Jiu-jitsu, you could control somebody and not get punished and not get hurt. Any striking sport, you're gonna get touched. You're going to get touched and you could get some damage. But jiu-jitsu, you don't have to actually take damage if you control somebody. So for me, that's the best. And wrestling's pretty up there too. Judo, obviously. Anything that's grappling, for sure, you'll have a lot of control. But jiu-jitsu, you have so many more tools than those. Jiu-jitsu is like a big mixture of all those. So that's why I feel like, yeah, the controlling somebody is just so powerful. It's more powerful.
Have you ever thought about where you would be or what you would be doing without jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I've thought about that before.
And
I'll probably be married with a bunch of kids, and I don't know. That's pretty much it. Just working a regular job. So yeah, it's pretty much it.
No regrets.
It's not a bad life. It's not a bad life, but yeah, that'll be it. So
that's not what the passion is. Clearly.
No, obviously not.
No. Rene, before we wrap this up, where can people find you? Where are you accessible on social media? Where's your academy? Talk a little bit about all these amazing things that you're doing in Vegas.
Okay, so my jiu-jitsu is called Jiu-Jitsu Methods. You can find me at any social media with jiu-jitsu first, then methods second. And I'm in Las Vegas. Yeah, you can find me, like I said, in Facebook or on Instagram. If you want to follow me, mine's RLO. They call me Arlo back here in Vegas. RLO 702JJ. And you can find me on Instagram and stuff. And that's it. Yeah.
As always, we'll as always, we put all that. I can't speak today. I'm stumbling. Like I'm tripping.
Yeah. You said something the other day and I couldn't stop. I'm sorry, Rene. I wasn't even going to bring this up, but
oh my God.
You tried to say Copacabana the other day.
Oh yeah, I did.
And this, no joke, it came out Coco Banana.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. I stumbled that one.
Yeah. I held it together during the podcast, but while I was editing it, I was crying, man. The tears were flowing.
Hey, listen,
Cocoa banana.
you're very welcome. See, I keep you entertained.
Yes,
There,
yeah.
See,
I was
there you go.
if I ever have a bad day, I'm just going to go back. I know exactly the time of the podcast, and it's cocoa banana.
Cocoa banana. There you go. Well, that's what happens when you trust the podcast with a foreigner, guys. It is what it is. I don't even know where I was going with this. As always, we will put all the links in the show notes. So if you want to check out Rene or his brand new academy, check out the links included in the notes of the show. And then if you are in the Vegas area, make sure you visit his academy, say hello, and then obviously get beat up.
And check out that awesome bathroom.
And check out the awesome bathroom. That's right.
The bathroom's the best.
Hey, that's it. That's it. Listen, on a more serious note, thanks for hanging out with us from the bathroom, right? Thanks for showing us around. Thanks for sharing all the amazing stories and what a beautiful life, full of potential.
Absolutely.
Full of potential. And we wish you the best of luck on your brand new journey that you are beginning with your academy, and we'll be watching right from the sidelines.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Peace.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to RŌL Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.